This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by European bantamweight title challenger, Mr. Charlie Edwards. Charlie, first of all, thank you very much for your time this morning. And how is everything?
Everything's great, mate. Um, Today's a good day. It's another step on the journey to be back where I belong. Um, First and foremost, I'm excited for this fight. It's a good fight. Thomas Essomba is a proper champion. He's always fought in the away corner, so records are really for DJs. People might look at his record and think, "Oh, that's an easy fight," if they don't know Thomas Essomba or boxing. But Thomas is a real good fighter, two-time Olympian. He's always been in the away corner. He's upset the apple cart a good few times, and he's probably been robbed a few times as well. He's coming into his peak years, although he is a bit older, 35 or 36, I believe. But he's on a run of form. He picked up the European title on away soil over in Italy, and then he defended it against a good fighter, Eli Conki from France, in the UK. Yeah, it was a close fight, could have gone either way. But he's the champion, and he come out there with a title, and now it's time for me to dethrone the champion. Um, what I believe is my destiny. I've been praying for these nights like this, these moments like this for a long time over the last few years, where I got kept out into the dark, made a few crap decisions with certain people, and I've I've ended up managing myself, and it shows that managing myself was the right decision because I'm getting the fights that I want, that I get up for, the one that gets me up in the morning to drink my orange juice and eat my breakfast. And it's exciting times for me, very exciting times. And not only that, it's live on Channel 5, terrestrial TV, massive viewing figures. And with the build up to this fight, especially with my brother jumping in completely, he's just put it out on Instagram that he's Team Essomba all the way through to this fight, jumping straight in his corner and going with his fighter over his brother. Is going to build for a massive and a big fight. So I really, really look forward to this build up. I'm fully focused, fully confident, and know what I can do to Thomas Essomba. And on the 27th of September, Charlie Edwards will pick up the European title in devastating fashion, and I believe I will knock Thomas Essomba out.
Before we talk about the Essomba fight a bit more, you mentioned obviously this we had this big period of inactivity where you mentioned making not so great decisions. And I was just looking back at your post-fight interview after your last fight where you said you weren't sure if you were going to be back in the box ring and have these big nights again. How far into that period of inactivity did you start to have the belief again that you'd be back in the ring and back in these big nights?
Um, when It's well documented, when I finally stood up for myself and finally took my own career into my own hands. And especially after that, when I decided that, and when I met Stephen Smith, he gave me the belief. Um, and hearing someone who I respect so much tell me what I thought in my head, but it seemed like it weren't happening or materializing for me. Um, it was like a breath of fresh air, and he really installed the confidence in me. He gave me that buzz back. Well, to be honest, I've had the buzz the whole time, but I was down and felt like sad because I weren't getting no opportunity or no shot. But I've been more obsessed with boxing, more so than I've ever been, even when I was world champion. Yeah, when I had no fights, like I would go to the gym, train every day, like sometimes twice a day, focus on bettering myself, focus on my weak areas. And it drove me into a bit of it was my saving grace. It drove me a bit insane, obsessive with it. Do you know what I mean? In 2 years, I was living in and out the gym like I was in camp, and I had no fights. And I would be sitting there at night looking up at the stars out here in Portugal and just like saying my prayers, pleasing, wondering why nothing's happening for me. And then I switched up my mindset. I started, started looking at it in a different light. That, maybe this is God's plan. Maybe this is what I have to endow, what I've had to go through to make me the person I need to be when the time is right to then deliver. So then I started changing my mindset, started being a bit more grateful, for the challenges, the tasks, the people I've got away from, and who didn't, I believe, done right by me. And it pushed me into managing myself, and maybe this was what I was supposed to do the whole time, start my manager's journey, then to get back into a big fight straight away, cracked a deal with Wasserman, then straight into an international WBC title fight against Jorge Ore, who, to be honest, I wanted to fight Thomas then for my first comeback fight for the European title, but it didn't happen that way. So I picked someone who was very similar to Thomas, a southpaw who switched hit a bit, who probably got a better defense than Thomas. So this has all been planned for me now, and I'm just buzzing and overwhelmed and grateful and like thanking God up there, that He's allowing me to walk the path that I'm destined to walk, and I understand it more now. And yeah, it's been a great journey. They say like I've done it before. I've got to the world title, and I sat there for the world title and thought, what is this? This is not even what it was cut out to be. And it's true what they say. It's a journey that you take. And when you start realizing that the challenges and the tasks that you've been given to you is actually powering you for what you've asked for, because what you believe you can become, I believe that God gives you these challenges, trials, and tribulations to test you how bad you want it. And now I believe I'm in the stage of my journey and my career where now it's time to start making the steps again. So looking forward to the EBU title on the 27th, and then we don't look past that fight at all, because I'm not the guy who slips up and looks past things. We've seen it happen too many times, and I'm fully focused. So, and then whatever's after that is my destiny. But I'm looking forward to this fight.
And where do you feel you have the advantages heading into this fight with Thomas Essomba?
I believe I do everything better than him. I believe like Charlie Edwards turns up in the right mind frame. I never cut corners. I'm always putting in 100%. Like, and to be honest, I probably put in more. I do more things 100% now than I ever did even coming up when I was younger to world title fights. So I know that I do fit everything better than him. Don't forget, I used to be at Steel City Gym, so I know how they work. I know their rhythms. I know their timings. I know their drills, the lines, the circles, the way they move. Because once upon a time, I moved like that. I boxed like that, so I know what traps to set. And I've been watching him and seeing what he does. And I've seen his weaknesses. I've seen his strengths. I've seen where I can set traps. I've seen where I can expose him. I've seen where I can walk him down and I can hurt him. I feel like in all areas I'm better than him. I'm a bantamweight now, a legit bantamweight. I'm not a weak flyweight who's got no legs under him no more. The last fight, don't forget, I fought with a cut, so I had to box a certain way in that fight. But this fight, you'll see a lot of people see a lot more of Charlie Edwards, and I'm looking forward to showcasing who I really am.
And then obviously you mentioned about Sonny Edwards, your brother, being on Team Essomba. What feeling does it give you, first of all? Does it give you that fire inside of you, knowing that like, while you're only going against Essomba in the ring, you know that Sonny's going to be there in Essomba's corner, almost throwing every punch with him from there?
Um, I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm more experienced, wise enough, mature enough to understand this is the boxing game. I understand it all. Sonny in his corner doesn't really phase me or doesn't really bother me. Does it give me a little bit of burning desire? Oh, 100%. Because when I'm standing there at the end with my hand raised and that belt over my shoulder, it will feel like, yeah, that you doubted me, you went against me, and look, you know, it is what it is. Um, Sonny doesn't know me anymore like that. Like on a day to day, he doesn't know how I've matured in my mind. We've sparred a little bit for the Bam fight. I went to help him spar Bam, and he knows what I'm about. He loves me. I love him. This is just a boxing game. We understand the boxing game. This turns a good fight into a big fight, you know, and I just got to be grateful and thankful, because at the end of the day, Sonny manages Thomas, Lee and manages Thomas, um, and really they've delivered me Thomas on a platter. So It's the family business, right?
Fair enough. Have you spoke to Sonny like directly since this fight was agreed? And if so, what have you said with each other?
Yeah, but we've had to because I manage myself. Sonny manages Thomas. So yeah, we've had little back and forwards, um, little back and forwards on the phone, bantering each other, winding each other up. It's just it's just typical brotherly love, isn't it? But it is all fun and games, but it's not going to take any focus off my fight. In fact, it will probably make me laser like focus. It will make me produce an even better performance. I'm going against, which is this is the storyline behind it. I'm not only going against my brother, I'm going against my old gym. Steel City was my old gym. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's gonna be a good fight and a challenge that I'm really up for. Because they know me as Charlie Edwards, who left that gym. God knows how many years ago now. 4 years ago, I think. Charlie Edwards of today is a different type of man, different person. I think they know that though when they've seen me and they've talked to me since then. And this fight, it's do or die for me. Every fight now, my career's on the line. That's my mindset. So I'm gonna fight to the death for this fight, and I'm gonna do a number. I believe I'm gonna outbox him, out hustle him, be stronger than him, and I believe I can knock him out. Um, and on fight night, it's going to be enjoyable.
And just how important is this fight for you in your career? While we know that you've been at that top level, this is almost a second chapter to the career of Charlie Edwards, isn't it?
Um, I said this in another interview. This fight for me, like I said, this is more important than any other fight. This is the most important fight of my career. And I seen that as every fight now is the most important fight of my career, especially out of the inactivity, being lied to, nothing materializing, and being kept inactive in the most important times of my career. After after you vacated the title, you're an undefeated champion, moving up a weight and stuff like that. It's been a slippery slope right all the way down to the pecking order. And I'm a real champion, I've got that champion's mindset, and I would never give in because I know what I'm capable of. And that's what drove me and pushed me to keep going. So now I'm back in the limelight, headlining my own shows on Channel 5 with a belief of Wasserman behind me, Killer and Nissen Sauerland in a European title fight. This fight's more important than the world title to me. Much more. Where I am today, this is more important. That might have been important at that time, but I'm a former world champion. This European title I've never won. I want it on my mantelpiece, and it's personal for me. This journey, it's an inner personal journey of myself, of my growth, of my development, of how I'm going to be a role model to my daughter when she gets to a certain age and she can look back on my career. This means the world to me. This is my life. I've sacrificed my whole upbringing, childhood, everything for this career. And that's why I'm so obsessed, more obsessed than I've ever been, putting in the work day in, day out. Right now, I've actually had to. We was thinking the fight was going to come in July, but because of the Euros, it didn't. It got pushed back to September. So after my last fight, I was straight back into camp 2 weeks after I had off, straight back in the gym, working on things, continuing to think about the game plan and perfecting things for this fight. So now it's time just to take the foot off the gas a little bit, chill out a bit, and then look to pick camp up in a couple of weeks. But this is the most important fight for me of my career.
And then just last one on this. How much easier has it been for yourself since you made the decision to manage yourself rather than having someone make the fights for you? How much has that made your career easier?
Oh, 100%. 100%. It has, because really the only one who cares so much about my career and any fighter's career is yourself. Like, you care about it. It's your only career. When people are playing numbers games for their own pockets and they just pick off the shelf when it's time that suits them, do you know what I mean? Or how they can play it. So, oh, I'll get him on that card. You might have to not have him, but da, da, da. So it's like when you're managing yourself, you're doing everything solely for you. You speak to the promoters, managers yourself. You speak to the PR people yourself. So you get things how you want them to be instead of like, oh no, don't worry about that. You can just let that go ahead. Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll just ignore that point because this and that. But really, they're ignoring that point because they want to get a favour elsewhere. So for me, it was very important to go in the managing myself, and it was the best decision I made. And I hold on myself and I stand on my ground where I am now, and hand on my heart. When I decide to manage other fighters, I will. I've looked at some managers along the way, and I will never manage fighters like that are getting done in this day and age. It's disgusting. Some things that are happening, and when I manage fighters in the future after my career's done, because I want to put full focus on myself, and I think that's the only right thing to do. Is then when I step into managing, I would have had all the experience from myself and stuff, and I would have made a connection of a good connection in the boxing game already, and then I'll be in a position to do so. But managing myself was the best career move I ever made.
And then just very quickly, just getting your thoughts on some other topics going on. Obviously, we've already mentioned your brother Sonny Edwards, but after his victory a couple of weeks ago, it seems that the next fight for him is going to be a little UK rivalry against Galal Yafai. How do you see that fight playing out?
Well, on that note, if Sonny's Sonny Essomba for this fight, maybe I might have to go and call in Galal Yafai for some sparring. It makes perfect sense for the Essomba fight, doesn't it? So I might have to jump on the phone to Rob McCracken and arrange some sparring. Maybe go down Sheffield to the home of GB boxing and get some good rounds in. Sonny's obviously gone the other way, so what should I? I'll probably one of the most likable fighters to my brother. So maybe I'll have to go sparring down that way.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then just lastly, Naoya Inoue, obviously undisputed at super bantamweight. He's had a fight announced recently against TJ Doheny. A lot of people criticizing the fight, saying it's not a great opponent. What do you make of TJ Doheny as an opponent for Inoue?
Um, I think his run of form is talking for itself. He's knocking people out in Japan. Do you know what I mean? Like he's you can only say it's not a good opponent because I don't know, maybe he took a few losses, but same again, you can't take a fighter just by a few losses. You don't know what was going on in their life at the time. You don't know all the backstory behind it, the trainings and the happiness of the fighter, the struggle they've been going through. Injuries could play a big part. You can't really go off like losses because when someone's on a good run of form, it shows that they're still competing. And he's been a world champion. He's obviously got himself in the position with the rankings to be able to even fight in a way. So yeah, he's a tough game fighter. I can understand why people are saying that, but it is what it is. I think people are overcritical on Inoue's opponents anyway. Um, because like he's having top fight after top fight after top fight. So when one fight comes up like this, they discredit it. I don't know. I can see why, but it is what it is. It's not Inoue's fault. It's whoever's put in front of him. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose he'll just have to go out and do the number and knock him out in some fashion, and then he'll move on, and everyone will forget about it, and then there'll be bigger and better fights for the fans out there. But in this game, like um, it's not bad sometimes when there's a bit of like opinions on a fight, even though people are putting negative spill on this fight, it's still getting the comments up, it's still spreading the fight, it's still a talking point, which makes Inoue even bigger. And once he does the job, then the next fight they step into another one. Everyone forgets about this fight, but it's one of them things when you're at the top of the tree and you're fighting and winning and beating the best of the best of the best, like Canelo, people have then start turning against him. It's just the way the world goes, I suppose. But the fight I want to see is I know Nakatani is down at bantamweight at the moment, but he'll probably move up in the not too distant future. And that's a super mega fight over in Japan, isn't it? Imagine that. Mr. Honda will be rubbing his hands together. Do you know what I mean? When that fight materializes, that'll be a mega fight, and it probably will in the next few years. And there's that. Is it? I can't say his name. Akamobadov. Is that how you say it?
Oh,
Or something.
yeah, I think
He's
yeah.
out there as well. So he'll probably be in the line for a shot against Inoue in the next few fights. So you can't really. I can see where people discredit this fight, but I suppose it is what it is. People are still going to tune in.
Exactly that. And then just very lastly, how many how many more weight classes can Naoya Inoue go up to and win world titles? We know he's already been on a big sweep, but how many more until he might be simply too small for the weight?
You just don't know, do you? Like, he's obviously taking his power with him through the weights, so he's just gonna have to keep pushing it. There is going to be a time where there is going to be bigger and stronger men, just like Canelo when he come up to against Bivol. You know, it happens, and that's why weight classes are in the sport for a reason. But when you dare to be great and you continue to climb the weight classes, it's the risk you take. So I don't know. He's at super bantam now. He's got to try feather, super feather. I don't know. Maybe just depends. You got to assess it every time he steps up and see where he's at against certain opponents as well. So yeah, I think he's got a good few more weights left in him to do. And boxing is about timing as well. So maybe like the other top guys then will slightly start to move up a weight, and then he'll think, yeah, this is the right time to go. I reckon I'll get a few titles now, boom, and then he'll move up and he'll slot in and be the king of the division again.
Charlie, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your
Nice.
time this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure, and best of luck on
Thanks.
September 27th.
Lovely, nice one, mate.